Okay, in this video, I'm going to answer a long-standing request for folks to talk about DMAE, and we'll discuss Centrophenoxine too, because I have used both of them in the past. I actually like Centrophenoxine. It seems to work better for me in particular doses in combination with other compounds. Yeah, I'm just going to clear some stuff up, give some dose recommendations, and talk about some DMAE coming up. All right, minute and a half of Product Pro. Fast forward a minute and a half if you don't want to hear us talk about incredibly effective nootropic products. But I mean, we've got incredibly effective nootropic products. Number one, we've got a stack. We have our own stack. It's called Cortex. Very powerful frontal lobe, mental energy, speed of processing, cognitive endurance nootropic stack. Get it at livecortex.com. We basically figured out that we can combine uridine, CDP choline, artichoke extract, and bacopa at very particular milligram dose quantities to get a modafinil-like effect with a natural stack. We call it Cortex. It's very powerful. Get it at livecortex.com. We wrote 3 digital guides that teach you how to use nootropics, but mostly they are lists of incredibly effective nootropic stacks. Number one, the Smarter, Better, Faster guide. That's sort of for people new to nootropics, teaches you everything, gives you many stacks. Number 2, the NOOPEP Pro stack list. That's a giant list of highly effective pro user NOOPEP stacks. Number 3, the Racetam God Guide, giant list of Racetam stacks. Highly effective. All those are digital, so you can download them for an iPad or a mobile device or Android, whatever you got, and read it right away, get access to the stacks. They're very powerful. Lastly, we do Nootropics Consulting. It's a 40-minute call with me, 15 additional email correspondences to help you shave some stuff off a stack, to help you formulate a stack that works well for you. If you're trying to figure out how to make racetams work better, modafinil work better, whatever to work better, we can help you do that. Get all that stuff at livecortex.com. Okay, so DMAE, I think it's like dimethyl aminoethanol or some long-sounding name. DMAE is essentially a nootropic compound that through its various mechanisms will eventually contribute to this thing called phosphatidylcholine. That the phosphatidylcholine makes up cell membranes. It is a nootropic compound for brain fluidity. It is not an acetylcholine precursor, although in adults, once they've developed a particular neural pathway or neurochemical pathway, a DMAE can contribute to the acetylcholine process, just not in babies, because that pathway hasn't really been established yet. And so that's why you might hear about DMAE causing what's called neural tube defects, and that's because essentially DMAE replaces choline uptake in like a rat embryo or something, and perhaps human babies. I'm not sure. But I think once humans develop the capacity to take DMAE, and though they're converting it to phosphatidylcholine, they can also through a few other pathways or one other primary pathway convert it to acetylcholine in some regard. I don't believe it's a direct precursor though. So look, that's essentially DMAE. The standout effects for DMAE are brain fluidity. A lot of people report their capacity to be socially effective in public, like in instances like at the cashier, like when they're buying something at the store, like they would actually have a conversation with the cashier, whereas when they're not taking DMAE, they just never would do that. Folks, report that their all-around brain fluidity is better, that their verbal fluency is better, that their capacity to be sort of quick on their feet, quick-witted, to make decisions, to be fluidly intelligent out in the wild is better via taking DMAE. And I would bet that that's because of its work on phosphatidylcholine. The Cortex stack, is a famous stack because uridine and CDP choline, famously work on building phosphatidylcholine. And when I take that stack, when all of our customers take that stack, they get the same sort of result. It's just like they're way better on their feet, they're better socially, they're better verbally fluent, and all these sorts of things. So that could be why. DMAE, though, I guess the dose range on DMAE is really, 25 milligrams on the low end to about 500 milligrams on the high end. Now, some people can take more DMAE, and I'm not sure what constitutes their capacity to deal with that much, but for me, very low doses can work well. Anything above 50 milligrams makes my brain not work correctly, and that's probably just some sort of cholinergic overload, some sort of pathway gone awry, right? It just doesn't jive with my brain above 50 milligrams. I've got to go back to it and study and figure out exactly why that might be happening, but suffice it to say, it definitely does. But I would say that when I do take DMAE in the right quantities for me, which is very low doses. I mean, frankly, I could take 25, 30 milligrams of DMAE and I would get a benefit from it. I'd get a good solid brain fluidity benefit from it. It's been a while since I took some DMAE. I have some, but it's probably been 6 months or so since I did it. I want to revisit it and go through some experiments, but that's essentially the extent of it. Then I do get some verbal fluency, some brain fluidity benefits from taking DMAE, and interestingly, they kind of last a long time. It's really interesting how once it actually starts working in my brain, it really feels like my entire brain is working better. Centrophenoxine is essentially like the alpha GPC of DMAE, right? Whereas like in this, in this comparative example, like the DMAE might be, I don't know, maybe a step above choline by tartrate, if you get what I'm saying. Centrophenoxine is essentially DMAE, but a lot more available to the brain, sort of a quicker uptake, a quicker capacity to actually engage in its conversion to phosphatidylcholine through its various pathways, and the facilitation of acetylcholine through its various pathways. So it's a little more bioavailable, all things considered. The dose range on centrophenoxine is really 100 milligrams to 800 milligrams. I mean, that's the window that I would stay in. Most folks find a good sweet spot at around 200 milligrams of centrophenoxine. Both of these compounds are legal to have in the United States as far as I can tell. I think centrophenoxine is not considered, I think it's on the generally recognized as safe list in terms of supplements to take, but like when we were manufacturing Cortex, we were thinking about trying to get centrophenoxine in there because it actually jives well with uridine and CDP choline in low doses. But that was one of the ingredients that our product manufacturing facility, which is in New York, is legit by the books. Like their CGMP, which stands for Current Good Manufacturing Practices, certified, and they do everything according to the mandates handed down by the FDA. And centrophenoxine was actually not a supplement that they could source in and put in legally to the Cortex stack or to any other stacks that we wanted to put in, which is what makes me think some of these other companies that are able to put centrophenoxine in their pre-made stacks at least have figured out a way around that. Probably they've got lawyers on retainer and they can, they're figuring out a way to deal with it. I bet that some of these companies like TrueBrain, which have racetams in their products, are just really meticulously playing this close to the, in terms of terminology on their product and stuff, playing this close to how it has to be. And I bet they have lawyers on retainer. Anyway, that is the case with DMAE and centrophenoxine. A lot of people, I talk to a lot of folks who get great benefit from taking both of them, as a standalone, mixing with racetams, mixing with Noopept, mixing with other choline sources, mixing with theacrine, mixing with theanine, mixing with tyrosine, and a bunch of other nootropic compounds. And those are the dose rangers that I would suggest really sticking with a good, solid, generally applicable dose range for both of them being DMAE at 50 to 100 milligrams and then centrophenoxine at 100 to 300 milligrams. Just try to make it a little more granular for folks. That's my position on the both of them. I think they are, it's weird. I mean, I think they tend to have a little more of a side effect spectrum compared to some of the other choline sources or choline modulating nootropic compounds based on their complexity of mechanisms. And so that's maybe why they're not regarded as significantly popular or whatever. But if you go and spend some time around the nootropic subreddit, you're going to find that a lot of folks take DMAE and centrophenoxine with a lot of great benefit. And that's my take on the both of them. Thanks for watching.
What's up, everybody? Ryan Michael Bauer here. Hey, thanks a lot for listening to the video. Thanks a lot for being here. But check this out. If you want to take your nootropics game to a different level, to the pro level, we've got 4 major products for you. Number 1, the Noopept Pro Stack List. I think of all of these, it's the Noopept Pro Stack List and the Racetam God Guide, which we're going to get to in just a second, and we explain in the video, that are the most advanced guides out of our guides. The Noopept Pro Stack List is a digital guide that explains a bunch of powerful sublingual, oral, and nasal Noopept stacks. It also has 20 bonus Racetam stacks. The gist of it is, look, it took me a long time, 4 years of concentrated experience trying to find the best Noopept stacks, putting them in a digital guide. It's like folks try for a while to find a good Noopept stack. They're like, you're weighing stuff out, they're adding different ingredients in, they can't quite get it right. I figured them all out. I figured the god stacks of Noopept, and I put them in the Noopept Pro Stack List. Get that at livecortex.com. It's digital. Then the Smarter, Better, Faster guide, as you see right in front of you here, that is a guide for new folks. If you're new to nootropics, look, any of these guides will suit you, but if you're new to nootropics, this teaches you everything. Choline sources, racetams, stacking racetams, phenibut, research chemicals, modafinil, everything in between. Smarter, Better, Faster is a very powerful, information dense. It's also a lot of stacks in there. Digital guide you can download for anything you have. Then the Racetam God Guide. This is a little on the advanced level, but still, anyone could take it and get the stacks from it, and then go implement those stacks, make those stacks, capsule the the stuff, the ingredients that we've got laid out in the stacks, and then get a benefit from it. It's got 80 plus pro, highly advanced, super effective Racetam stacks. We got aniracetam, piracetam, oxiracetam, phenylpiracetam, nephiracetam, coliracetam, fasoracetam, all the major 8 nootropic racetams in that guide. And then the Cortex stack. The Cortex stack is really like, look, if you're really looking to take your nootropics game to another level, I created that stack to give people an idea of what nootropics really should be. The pre-made stacks that were out there were not that effective. They just weren't. The companies and the folks that own those companies, I'm sure, are great. They just weren't that effective. So I created a stack that was like blowing my mind and allowing my brain to really function well during an 18-hour period building a business. I then converted that to a commercial stack. It is called Cortex. It is strong, okay? Get all that stuff at livecortex.com. That is what you got to do if you really want to take your nootropics game to the next level. Get these guides. Get all these guides. If you're new, get the Smarter, Better, Faster guide. If you want a new PEP stack list that's highly advanced and surgical, get the new PEP Pro stack list. If you want some Racetam stacks that are extremely effective, situationally specific, get the Racetam God Guide. And listen, thanks so much for being with me. Go to livecortex.com and get these products. And my friends, be epic and achieve more.